And I recommend this for any cooks or anybody who's a foodie who's interested in learning more about the science of food. We're going to turn to page 162 here and talk about braising. So to braise a meat item properly, you have to cook it at the right temperature where it dissolves the collagen into gelatin. If you've ever seen a chicken stock or like a beef stock that's been cooled and just turns into this gelatinous mixture, that is because of all the meat proteins and collagen has turned into gelatin and makes for a thick, chilled stock. Now most meats need to be cooked between a temperature of 160 to 185 degrees, but at this temperature meats tend to dry out. How do they dry out when they're boiled in liquid? Well, essentially that. When meat is boiled, it'll cause syneresis, which causes the muscle fibers to tighten up, squeezing out the moisture or liquid inside the protein. Guidelines for succulent stews and braises is to keep the meat in as large pieces as possible. If you have to cut them down, try to keep the sizes uniform and as big as possible. To develop more flavor in your braise, you're going to caramelize your protein in a hot pan, ripping hot. Sear your meat so it develops that crust or that Maillard reaction, which is going to cause more flavor to develop in your dish. Now you can braise on a pot over the range, or you can braise in your oven. I suggest starting with a cool liquid, whether you're using water, chicken stock, beef stock, whatever you're using. Start it cool and then add your meat inside and bring it up to temperature. If you're braising into an oven, about 250 degrees will be great. If you're doing it on a stove, medium-high heat will suffice. Check the meat after about an hour and a half, 2 hours to make sure it's fork tender. Once it's fork tender, allow the meat to cool completely in the juice that you're cooking it in. This will allow the meat to absorb some of the liquid. If you need to reduce the liquid braise, you can do that, just remove the protein first. Once you remove the protein and set it aside, you can heat up your braising liquid over a high heat and allow it to reduce. Reducing it is going to get rid of the excess moisture through evaporation, and it's going to concentrate that flavor and even make it into a nice thick glaze, which will make a delicious braise. Once it's reduced and heated up to a great temperature and a good consistency and a nice flavor, you can add your protein back inside, give a nice little toss, and there you go. You have a delicious braised dish with perfectly fork tender meat and a delicious thick glaze. I hope this helps.